Let's get you now to Maria Martin, the queen of sports here at 11 Alive.
Maria, your job is to stay on top of all of this and keep track of it. It is a busy job.
I thought you were going to say never a slow day in Maria Martin's life.
It is never. I sit next to her. It's never a slow day for Maria either.
Happening right now on Sports Extra. How about them dogs? Georgia is coming back to Athens with a Texas-sized win after taking down the top-ranked Longhorns, giving Kirby Smart a special 100th win.
I'm here with the legendary former head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Mark Gottfried, was the coach for 11 years, and you've got two of your former players coaching against each other. You got a little emotional when you talked about it earlier with me. What's it like watching these two guys?
Well, it is emotional because I'm so proud of them.
Reggie Chapman, that's a great question. And Gunnar Stockton, we've talked about his record-setting ways at Raven County when he was the starting quarterback there, but he hasn't really had the opportunity to prove he can be a starting quarterback at Georgia, seen as though this is his first start in a Bulldogs uniform, and it just so happens to be in a college football playoff quarterfinal against Notre Dame in New Orleans. What a moment to start, and perhaps it could be Gunnar's job in the future, considering Carson Beck's announcement that he's declaring for the NFL draft. Someone has to take over QB1.
I was very impressed with Carson Beck's performance.
He was impressed with himself, calling himself a dual-threat quarterback, by the way. And Kirby Smart, right after the game, said, I think that's a stretch.
Cool it a little bit.
75-25 quarterback, so we're going to cool it on the dual-threat quarterback situation.
It's the first time that we've seen Ian Cunningham and Kevin Stefanski do this together because it's a whole new front office. So honestly, there are a lot of different ways that the Falcons could go with this, Faith, but I would be very surprised if by the end of the weekend on Sunday, when we get through all of the rounds of the NFL draft, we're sitting here and saying the Falcons only pick 5 guys. It's not just you, your team's capitalizing off the long ball. What is it about this ballpark that allows the ball to fly?
I mean, as you can see, the flag, like the wind, this is a hitter's ballpark.
We should see a lot of goals in there today. For the North African country, they're looking to score a lot. But for Haiti, they're just here for the party, Reggie.
Just a vibe.
I actually talked to someone before this match, and they said they were a little bit worried that the Haitian fans would not show up. Well, they are here in droves. This is the second ever time that Haiti's been a part of the World Cup. 52 years since they've been there. I'll give you a Georgia connection really quickly. Lucius Deedson, he moved to Gwinnett County when he was 15 years old, played soccer here, grew up through the Atlanta United system, so there's going to be a lot of supporters here for him and, of course, for their country. Pride is a big thing in the World Cup. By the way, this has nothing to do with baseball, but I've come to find that when these Braves players have babies for the first time, there's this new power that happens. So he's a new dad, so maybe that's behind it as well. Man, if you don't get the quarterback position right in the NFL, it can send you packing. Ultimately, that's what we saw with both Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris. And another interesting point that John is alluding to, 5 different quarterbacks have started in a Falcons uniform since the departure of Matt Ryan back in 2021. That's a lot of guys to rotate in and out of here. They are still looking for their answer heading into next season. Last question for you. I saw Coach Blue celebrating with you after this double-double. What did it feel like to have that moment?
It's just love. It's love all around. Everybody shows love in every single way. You know, it doesn't matter whose day it is. You know, today just happened to be me and KB. And, you know, love all around.
Good stuff, Trinise. Thank
you so much.
We also have Coach Blue standing by. We're just going to rotate people in and out. Awesome afternoon from those two ladies. Let's touch on them first. A career afternoon for KB and Trinise Taylor with her first double-double. What did it mean to have those contributions from both of them?
I mean, those are the two players that, at the start of the season, we knew we would want to rely on.
Okay, you mentioned it, the red card. Honestly, I think it was the red card heard around the world yesterday. Flo Balogun getting the red card, leaving 10 men to play for the remainder of the match. Now they're going to be without Flo for their matchup against Belgium on Monday. Brad, you've seen a lot of yellow cards, a lot of red cards. You know what they're supposed to look like. Should that have been a red card?
In my opinion, no.
Ronald Acuna Jr. is the lone starter in the All-Star game tonight for the Braves, but he is joined by a couple of his teammates. Chris Sale is here, of course, and Matt Olson as well, the first baseman for the Braves. He just participated in the Home Run Derby yesterday, but when it comes to when he came over to Atlanta, that was back in 2022 when the Braves dealt away Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman, who happens to be here at the All-Star game as well. You know, those comparisons have continued between the two over the last couple of years, and what's really helped it quiet down is the fact that Matt Olson had a 52 home run season just a couple short years ago in 2023.
I completely understand the people who are skeptical about it.
The situation in more ways than one in Cleveland has been dire for years, okay? So the whispers around the National Football League, Cody, were Kevin is a guy that if he gets out of Cleveland, he's going to explode somewhere with the right pieces in place. Well, the belief is there's some pretty good pieces here in Atlanta, albeit he's got to figure out the quarterback situation, but he has a lot to work with here in the A. What do you think about Kevin coming here?
I talked to Mike Johnson yesterday, who's a former Falcons offensive lineman, former teammate of Matt Ryan's, and he said, look, he's the nicest guy on the planet. He is the first person to chew you out on the field and then go buy you a beer afterwards. However, he's going to make tough decisions. And honestly, I think that's what the Falcons organization has been missing for a long time. And with Kennesaw State's defense up first, you will not see Caleb Alford out there with that unit. Last week against Jacksonville State, he was involved in a very scary helmet-to-helmet collision, ultimately leading him to be transported to a nearby Atlanta hospital. I am very happy to report that Caleb has been back with the team this week. He was at practice. He's in very good spirits, but right now he is fully focused on getting healthy again.
Let's talk about the isolating life of a cornerback.
Yeah.
Sometimes you guys are out there on an island and you don't get a lot of credit until you're breaking up a pass, intercepting the ball, but then you get a lot of criticism when people feel like you're not making the big play. How do you navigate that mentality at that position?
Mental toughness.
These guys show that they want to try to compete for a championship down the stretch, and they continue to prove it each and every week.
You mentioned compete for a championship down the stretch. You still have that opportunity with a win here tonight. What does that mean for your program in your first year as a head coach?
It's big. We're trying to compete for a championship. We know that we got to do a great job next week.
Thanks, Nolan. It's been a crazy couple of weeks for interim head coach for Kennesaw State, Chandler Burks, trying to adjust and become a head coach for the first time in his career. At just 28 years old, he is the youngest active FBS head coach in all of college football by 6 years. Now, in an effort to keep things as normal as possible, he coached the Sam Houston game from the box, something that he's done all season long as the offensive coordinator. So the possibility of a trade is also always open for general manager Terry Fontenot. In fact, he has a board of all other general managers in the league based on their draft tendencies, whether or not they're aggressive enough to move up or down draft boards. When he was asked where he would be on that board, he said, quote, "I'm 75% trade up. I'm more aggressive."
You mentioned those injuries. Carson Beck had an MRI on Sunday morning and was awaiting those results. What have you heard about the quarterback?
Well, we reported last night at UJSports.com that we were hearing that it was a UCL.
Let's talk about Xavier Watts, because nobody believed that he was going to be available in the third round. In fact, Jeff Ulbrich said that too. He said, I was actually saying you need to trade up and go get this guy. Can't believe he's still available there. A safety that has 13 interceptions over the last 2 years. Jarvis, what do you like about Xavier and the way he could fit maybe in this defense?
Maria Martin joining us now with more on what this means for the Falcons. Maria?
Yeah, Cheryl, this is an exciting time. It means that Matt Ryan is actually going to be calling the shots when it comes to the football side of things for the Falcons, and he's wasting little time. In the last hour, the team announced they interviewed John Harbaugh for the head coaching position, the first such interview for Harbaugh since the Baltimore Ravens fired him last week. Now, Ryan is leading the search for a new general manager and head coach, and the team has now interviewed 5 head coaching candidates. Yesterday, he signed off from his TV analyst job to give his full attention to the Atlanta Falcons. And last week, I caught up with some of Matt's former teammates. They all had nothing but praise, as you could imagine, for the Falcons legend.
And you told me earlier this week one of the keys would be to take Adrian Woolley out of the game. You really contained him in this one. What was the key to that?
Well, I said it in our game, or at our place after our game, and I'll say it again. I mean, in my opinion, the kid's going to be an NBA player.
I want to take you back to the 2024 NFL draft. 8 Georgia Bulldogs were selected in that draft. And now this year, we are expecting as many as 10. It is another strong draft class built by Kirby Smart and his staff there in Athens. And we're expecting a couple of Bulldogs to come off the board in the first round tonight. Michael Williams and Jalen Walker both holding a private workout for teams around the NFL in Athens last week.
Maria Martin is with the winning head coach, Kerry Green.
Coach, congratulations on the win. You told me at halftime you wanted to see more shots inside from your team. None more important than that last one from Bella Smuda there. How crazy was the ending of this one?
Well, she was playing, basically she's in.
I love hearing that from somebody that's been in the midst of what's happening within the Browns organization. Well documented that there's been a lot of change and turmoil there for quite some years in Cleveland. But there's a lot of Falcons fans that are actually genuinely worried, Chris, because of what you're mentioning, those 8 wins the last couple of years there in Cleveland. Why should that not bear any weight on his next chapter in Atlanta?
So I watched Kirk Cousins walk into that building right behind me, getting ready for his physical. That is part of the day before he even signs his contract. And then right after that, I saw Falcons assistant general manager Kyle Smith walk over. He looked at me and he said, "This is a great day. This is an exciting day." We are going to hear from Kirk Cousins. Time of that is to be determined, but it will be sometime tonight. Falcons fans really excited about one of their first-round picks, 15th overall, Jalen Walker, the Georgia linebacker, checking a lot of boxes for Atlanta. He's a very versatile defender, and he really enjoys getting after the quarterback. When I talked to Jalen at Georgia's Pro Day, he told me that new defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich for the Falcons is a visionary and said, whatever he's with, I'm with. This might be the first meeting between these two programs, but it's not for the head coaches. They've shared a floor together. Kennesaw State head coach Antoine Petway and Jackson State head coach Mo Williams both often shared a backcourt at the University of Alabama. These two were teammates with the Crimson Tide from 2001 to 2003. And they made the NCAA tournament in both seasons. They weren't just teammates. They actually became really good friends. And that friendship brings us all the way to today. Oh, they all had the funniest stories about that. I love talking to them about Coach Smart on the mic. But actually, it's not the players that get the worst of it. Raylan Wilson told me it's the coaches that hear it the worst on the mic at practice. Coach Smart obviously running a very tight ship at Georgia. It's the exact reason why the Bulldogs feel like they're more prepared this year to hopefully get a win over Ole Miss on Thursday. Speaking of a big win, let's talk about the Falcons. Monday Night Football, they were incredible, right? That win over the Rams, somehow, some way, they've now won 3 games in a row. Last night's victory in part due to the Falcons defense shutting down MVP candidate and former Georgia Bulldog Matthew Stafford. Rookie Xavier Watts picked him off twice, adding to his league-leading 5 interceptions among first-year players.
Third member of our broadcast team tonight, Maria Martin, checked in and caught up with the head coach of Troy, Jared Parker.
Coach, you told us earlier this week your run defense would be critical in this one. You've held Jacksonville State to 21 yards on the ground in the first half. How pleased are you with your defense's performance so far?
I would say ecstatic. Like for us to put them at that number and where this is, and it's how we have to play right now, right? We know we've got to play through our defense to finish this season out. They've been great, especially after possession 1, and we'll need the same effort from them to finish it out.
2 trips for your offense in the red zone, but you had to settle for field goals there. How do you get more out of them in that area?
Yeah, we're going to have to be cleaner. I think really, honestly, it's more second down plays. We're going to have to be a hair more aggressive. We've got to manufacture touchdowns down here if we're going to finish it.
Coach, thanks. Good luck the second half.
Thank you very much.